The power of indifference. In a world drowning in superficiality, where every glance is exchanged for validation and every word is laced with intention, there exists a rare, almost paradoxical force that draws people in with an irresistible magnetism. It is not the loud or the desperate that capture the deepest affections, but the calm and the indifferent. It is in the quiet, in the absence of need, that true power emerges. Women, in their essence, are not drawn to those who chase, but to those who walk their own path with unwavering self-sufficiency. The Stoics understood this well, the power of indifference, not as a means of rejection, but as a display of inner strength and unshakable composure. Let us explore the profound truth that lies in the art of emotional detachment and how it shapes desire in a world desperate for meaning. The power of emotional detachment in attraction. To understand the true depth of attraction, we must first acknowledge the most fundamental truth about human nature. People are drawn to strength, and strength is never found in need. Neediness, desperation, and the constant pursuit of attention are weaknesses that repel the very thing you desire most, genuine connection. In the realm of attraction, it is not the person who clamors for affection that commands it, but the one who stands unmoved by its absence. Emotional detachment is not indifference in the sense of coldness or lack of feeling, but a powerful stance rooted in the understanding that your peace and your worth do not depend on another's attention. It is an intentional choice to live for yourself, to be driven by your own values and goals, rather than the fleeting approval of others. This detachment creates a magnetic force. Why? Because fundamentally it conveys an essential message. I am enough. I do not need you to validate my existence. The Stoics, in their wisdom, spoke often of the need to remain indifferent to things outside of our control. Epictetus, a master of Stoic thought, taught that we must focus only on that which we can control: our actions, our responses, and our attitudes. Everything else, including the approval or rejection of others, must be treated as irrelevant to our peace of mind. When we detach ourselves from the need for validation, we free ourselves from the turbulent ebb and flow of emotional highs and lows that come with chasing approval. In relationships, emotional detachment is the most powerful form of self-respect. It communicates without words that you are not seeking anything from the other person. You have already found your peace, your purpose, and your value. To put it simply, you are not desperately pursuing someone to fill a void, for you know that no person can complete you. Only your own inner strength can do that. This emotional detachment doesn't mean you withhold affection or love. It simply means you are not ruled by the need to receive it. You offer it freely without expectation because your self-worth is not contingent on what you receive in return. This lack of desperation is incredibly attractive because it signals maturity, confidence, and control, all of which are traits anyone longs to be near. In every moment, by remaining emotionally detached, you send a clear message: I am at peace with myself. Your presence is not the source of my happiness. It is a beautiful addition to my life, but not its foundation. This is the essence of true power. When you are not reliant on others for your happiness, you become an unshakable force, and it is this strength that draws others to you. Women in particular are naturally drawn to those who stand firm in their own sense of self, for it assures them that they too will be treated with respect, not out of need, but out of choice. Thus, emotional detachment is not a rejection of others, but a testament to your own strength. It is a reminder that true attraction lies not in the pursuit of someone else's affection, but in the unwavering conviction that your value is inherent, that you are whole and complete within yourself, and that anything you receive from others is simply a reflection of their admiration for your own unshakable sense of self. Why true strength lies in self-sufficiency. True strength is not measured by how much attention you can garner from others, or by how desperately you can hold on to fleeting moments of approval. No, real strength is found in self-sufficiency, the ability to stand alone, unwavering in your convictions, and to find fulfillment within yourself, independent of external validation. When you become self-sufficient, when you learn to source your happiness and your peace from within, you unlock the most powerful form of freedom that exists. It is in this freedom that your true power lies. The Stoics were masters of self-sufficiency. They taught that our true essence is not determined by the circumstances of our lives, nor by the opinions or actions of others, but by our own inner virtues and our capacity to live according to reason. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, reflected deeply on the necessity of relying on one's own judgment and character rather than the approval or desires of others. To him, the man who is dependent on others for his sense of worth is weak, for his happiness is constantly at the mercy of forces he cannot control. When you embrace self-sufficiency, you cease to seek validation from the external world. You no longer feel the need to please others or to shape your identity based on the whims of those around you. You become a source of your own strength, which in turn makes you irresistible. For people, especially women, are not drawn to those who live to please, but to those who live authentically. The person who has mastered self-sufficiency is not only free from the turmoil of emotional dependence, but also magnetic in their independence. Self-sufficiency is the bedrock of confidence. When you do not need others to complete you, you become the architect of your own life. You are no longer a passive participant, waiting for life to fulfill you. Instead, you actively create your own happiness and contentment. This kind of independence is what attracts others, because it signals that you have a deep sense of your own worth. When you are self-sufficient, you no longer place the responsibility of your emotional well-being on another person's shoulders. You know that no one is responsible for your happiness but you, and you hold yourself to a standard that makes you a whole person, irrespective of others. This self-sufficiency does not mean you reject others or become emotionally cold. It simply means that you are complete within yourself and that no one else's approval is required for you to feel fulfilled. In fact, when you live with this sense of inner contentment, you are able to offer more to others. You do not seek to take from others in an attempt to fill a void within you. Instead, you give freely from the abundance of your own inner strength. For women, the men who exude self-sufficiency are far more captivating than those who are emotionally dependent. It is not the man who chases affection that commands attention, but the man who lives with purpose, who is self-contained, and who is unwavering in his pursuit of his own goals. This is the kind of strength that draws people in, for it creates a sense of respect and admiration that is built on the foundation of self-respect. Self-sufficiency is the power to stand alone, to rely on yourself for happiness, and to remain firm in your sense of self-worth. It is the most attractive trait a person can possess, for it is a clear sign that you are emotionally mature, strong, and capable of navigating life without leaning on others for support. It is this strength, born of independence and inner peace, that makes you truly irresistible, not just to women, but to all who encounter you. The danger of neediness and the rise of authentic confidence. Neediness is one of the most destructive forces in human interaction. It poisons relationships, distorts self-perception, and diminishes the value of those who succumb to it. When you are needy, you allow your worth to be determined by others, constantly seeking validation and approval to fill a void within yourself. This is a dangerous path, one that leads to dependence, insecurity, and a profound loss of power. On the other hand, authentic confidence is the antidote, a quiet, unshakable belief in your own value, independent of external validation. Neediness stems from a place of insecurity and a lack of self-worth. It is the belief that without the constant affirmation of others, you are incomplete or unworthy. This mindset forces you to chase after people, to exhaust yourself trying to gain their attention or affection, all in an effort to fill an inner emptiness. Yet, in this pursuit, you only push others away. People, particularly women, can sense neediness, and it creates an immediate sense of discomfort. No one wants to be the source of someone else's happiness, especially when it feels like that happiness is contingent on them. True confidence, however, is not born of external praise or attention. It arises from an inner knowing that you are valuable, not because of what others think, but because of who you are. Authentic confidence is rooted in self-respect, in the understanding that your worth is inherent and not something to be sought through the approval of others. When you embody this form of confidence, you no longer feel the need to chase after anyone or anything. You become the person who others are naturally drawn to because of your inner peace and unwavering belief in your own strength. The Stoics understood that external events, including the opinions of others, are beyond our control and therefore unworthy of our emotional investment. In their philosophy, confidence is not a function of the world around us, but of our ability to maintain our composure and poise in the face of it. To be truly confident is to be unaffected by the judgments or praise of others, to remain steady in your own value, regardless of how others perceive you. When you no longer seek validation, when you understand that your worth is not dependent on someone else's affection or approval, you begin to exude a natural, magnetic confidence. It is the kind of confidence that doesn't shout or demand attention. Instead, it quietly commands respect. This is the essence of authentic confidence. It does not need to prove itself because it is grounded in an unwavering sense of self. People are naturally drawn to those who are confident, not in the way they look or what they own, but in the way they carry themselves, strong, self-assured, and free from the need to be validated. Neediness is a trap, a false belief that your happiness lies outside of yourself, in the hands of others. Authentic confidence, however, is a liberation, a freedom that comes from within. When you rise above the need for approval, you take back control over your own emotional state. You become the source of your own happiness and strength, and it is from this place of power that others are naturally attracted to you. Women, more than anyone, are drawn to men who are secure in their own worth, who do not need them to feel complete, but instead offer their attention and affection freely, without expectation. This is the beauty of authentic confidence. It is not the pursuit of others' approval, but the quiet assurance that you are enough just as you are. In a world where people are constantly chasing after validation, the true test of strength lies in the ability to rise above this need. The man who is free from neediness, who understands that his worth is not determined by others, embodies the essence of authentic confidence. And it is this confidence, this unshakable belief in yourself, that makes you truly irresistible. Mastering the art of absence. How distance creates desire. In the intricate dance of attraction, absence holds a unique and powerful place. It is not the constant presence that creates longing, but rather the strategic, intentional space we create between ourselves and others. When you make yourself too available, you dilute your value. When you make yourself scarce, you increase your desirability. Absence does not mean withdrawal, out of anger or frustration. It is the art of maintaining a sense of mystery, of letting the other person come to you rather than pursuing them relentlessly. The Stoics understood this truth deeply. True strength lies not in proximity, but in the ability to hold your ground, to be fully present within yourself, regardless of the presence of others. The desire for someone increases when they are not constantly within reach. This is a fundamental truth of human nature. The more someone is available, the less we tend to value them. But when they are absent, when they are not around to be taken for granted, the mind begins to fill in the gaps. We become curious, intrigued, and eager for their return. Absence creates space for longing, and it is in longing that desire grows. In relationships, whether romantic or otherwise, people often mistakenly believe that proximity will strengthen their bond. They fall into the trap of thinking that constant attention, communication, and presence will solidify their connection. However, the opposite is true. The more you are around, the more you risk appearing desperate for validation. The more you make yourself available, the more you risk losing your sense of self. This is why the art of absence is essential. Absence does not mean that you are emotionally distant or unavailable. Rather, it means that you do not rely on constant interaction to feel validated. You allow the other person space to miss you, to appreciate you, and to desire you. By stepping back, you give them the opportunity to reflect on what you bring to their life and to realize that your presence is not guaranteed. This is when desire intensifies. The Stoics, in their wisdom, taught that we should not cling to anything outside of ourselves. We should not hold on to relationships, material possessions, or status with desperation. To do so is to give away our peace, our sense of self. Instead, we should embrace the idea of letting go, of allowing things to come and go naturally, without attachment. By doing so, we maintain control over our own emotional state, and we become the masters of our own desire. When we apply this philosophy to relationships, we see that the act of absence is not a rejection or an act of punishment, but a statement of self-sufficiency. It says, "I am whole without you. My worth is not determined by your presence. I will not chase after you, nor will I make myself available at your every beck and call. You must come to me if you wish to engage, and in doing so, you will come to appreciate the value I bring." This distance creates a natural tension, a space that allows both parties to reflect on the relationship and their feelings. It is through this tension that attraction is often magnified. When you step back, when you make yourself absent, you allow the other person to feel the absence of your presence. And it is this absence, this subtle distance, that makes your return so much more powerful, so much more desired. In the end, it is not the constant availability that fosters a deep connection, but the mystery and the longing that come from mastering the art of absence. By maintaining a sense of independence, by allowing space for the other person to miss you, you create a dynamic that is both healthy and deeply attractive. This is the power of distance. It fuels desire, it creates longing, and it ultimately leads to a stronger, more balanced connection. The masculine principle of Stoic indifference. In the pursuit of lasting attraction and inner peace, there is one principle that stands above all others: Stoic indifference. This is not the indifference of neglect or disdain, but the powerful, composed indifference to external events, opinions, and emotions that lie beyond our control. The Stoics, led by figures like Epictetus and Marcus Aurelius, understood that true mastery over life begins with the acceptance that we cannot control the actions of others, the events that unfold around us, or the opinions that others hold. What we can control is our response, our attitude, and our inner peace. Indifference, in its true Stoic form, is the ability to engage with life fully while remaining unaffected by its turbulent currents. It is the inner strength to rise above the fluctuations of external events and maintain your center. This is the masculine principle of indifference. Not to be apathetic or passive, but to be unshaken, resolute, and unwavering in your own sense of self. In relationships, this form of indifference is particularly potent because it signals to others that your value is not tied to their approval or rejection. When you embrace this Stoic indifference, you stop allowing the whims of others to control your emotional state. You cease seeking validation or approval, knowing that these external sources of affirmation are fleeting and unreliable. In doing so, you become emotionally self-sufficient, which in turn makes you far more attractive. Women are not drawn to men who are constantly seeking their attention, approval, or validation. They are drawn to men who are steady, grounded, and emotionally self-reliant. The power of Stoic indifference lies in its ability to maintain inner composure regardless of what is happening around you. In any situation, you remain calm, unruffled, and in control. This emotional steadiness creates an aura of strength, a sense that you are not easily influenced by outside forces. You do not overreact to challenges, nor do you allow the actions or words of others to disrupt your peace. This unwavering calmness is the mark of a man who has mastered himself, a man who is not swayed by the opinions of others, by fleeting emotions, or by circumstances. In relationships, this principle of indifference works wonders. When you are indifferent to approval, you stop chasing after validation and begin to focus on the things that truly matter: your own personal growth, your own goals, and your own values. This shifts the power dynamic. Instead of seeking to please or gain the favor of others, you position yourself as someone who is whole, strong, and unshakable in your own worth. This, in turn, makes others gravitate toward you. Women are drawn to men who do not need them, who are not desperate for their attention, but who offer their presence freely, without the need for affirmation. Stoic indifference does not mean you are emotionally detached or unwilling to form deep connections. It means you are emotionally free, free from the need for validation, free from the desire to control others, and free from the anxiety of seeking approval. This freedom allows you to form relationships that are rooted in mutual respect and genuine connection, rather than neediness or dependency. In embracing the masculine principle of Stoic indifference, you reclaim your emotional sovereignty. You stop living for the approval of others and start living according to your own principles. This, in turn, makes you more attractive, more magnetic, and more resilient in the face of life's challenges. Women are not attracted to neediness or dependency. They are attracted to strength, self-sufficiency, and emotional independence. And it is through the practice of Stoic indifference that you cultivate these traits, becoming the kind of man who commands respect, admiration, and, ultimately, deep attraction. The quiet strength of self-respect. Self-respect is the cornerstone upon which all true attraction is built. It is the recognition that your worth is intrinsic, that you do not need to prove yourself to anyone, nor do you need to rely on external validation to affirm your place in the world. It is the quiet, unshakable strength that comes from knowing your value and refusing to compromise it for the sake of fleeting approval or attention. When you possess self-respect, you radiate a magnetic confidence that others cannot help but be drawn to. At its core, self-respect is about honoring yourself and your boundaries. It is the understanding that you are worthy of love, care, and admiration, not because of what you do or what you can give to others, but because you exist as you are. In the absence of self-respect, you fall into the trap of seeking validation from others. But when you cultivate self-respect, you stand firm in your own values, and this inner strength makes you irresistible. The Stoics understood that the key to living a life of virtue and fulfillment was to respect oneself enough to live according to reason, not emotion or external pressures. Marcus Aurelius wrote often about the importance of respecting one's own integrity and actions, emphasizing that the only judgment that truly matters is the one we make about ourselves. When you are in alignment with your own values, when you respect your own choices and actions, you begin to exude a quiet strength that commands the respect of others. Self-respect is not about arrogance or pride. It is about the ability to walk through life with your head held high, knowing that you are worthy of respect simply because you adhere to your own principles and standards. It is a strength that does not need to announce itself, but is felt by everyone who comes into your presence. When you possess self-respect, you do not seek out others to validate your existence. You simply live according to your values and allow others to come to you. The beauty of self-respect lies in its simplicity. When you respect yourself, you do not allow others to dictate your worth. You do not bend to the opinions of others, nor do you allow their judgments to sway your sense of self. You are grounded in your own truth, and it is this groundedness that others are drawn to. Women especially are attracted to men who possess self-respect because it signals that they are not emotionally needy or dependent. They do not rely on others to feel complete, but instead offer their presence from a place of abundance. In relationships, self-respect means you are not afraid to set boundaries, to say no when necessary, and to walk away from situations that do not align with your values. It means that you are not willing to compromise who you are for the sake of someone else's comfort or approval. This steadfastness, this ability to honor your own worth, creates an aura of respect around you that others will naturally be drawn to. The person who respects themselves is the person who commands respect from others. Self-respect also means accepting responsibility for your actions and owning your mistakes. It is about being honest with yourself, understanding your weaknesses and striving to improve, not out of shame or the desire to please others, but because you value your own growth. The man who has true self-respect is constantly working to improve himself, not for external recognition, but for his own sense of integrity and personal fulfillment. When you respect yourself, you create a foundation of strength and confidence that others cannot help but recognize. This quiet strength is far more powerful than any external display of bravado. It is the subtle power that comes from knowing your worth and refusing to accept anything less than what you deserve. Women are drawn to men who respect themselves because they know that they will be treated with the same respect. Self-respect is the key to building healthy, balanced, and fulfilling relationships. It is the trait that will not only make you more attractive, but will also guide you toward a life of fulfillment and purpose.